to the live stream. Haven't done one in a little while. So this is the, well, let's see. I gotta go count. But see, new life is sprouting on a couple places on this olive tree right here that is in the line. And as we go back to the right, there's more and more evidence of growth. This tree is almost completely, obviously, back to life. These were the ones that were being watered with the shorter soaker hose after I suddenly realized that since we own this property, we should be saving these trees. So right over here under the mission olive tree, which is gonna have really nice black olives pretty soon. So we need some people to come here and pick them. And I'm watering this with a hose now because our whole system kind of collapsed, at least with the pipe system that waters all of the huge olive trees, without which this place would be a living hell with no shade. It kept breaking, and Tom kept having to put in new parts. And then, so he made this much nicer box. Too bad it's all locked down now. Maybe I could open it. Anyway, I'll try. Let's see. Lift here. What does that mean? Oh, lift here. But I have to, yeah, I can't really, no, I can't do it. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of frogs living in there. So anyway, Tom had to fix it several times. And it looks like now it's really fixed. So the whole project to fix this was because this was this huge open watery hole that was leaking and wasting water. And since we don't pay for our water here at the industrial park, we wanted to fix that. So in fixing it, this tree over here stopped getting any water. And that's the mission olive tree. One of them is anyway. So we wanted to keep those olives going because that's the tree that Mother Catherine came to pick last year and got most of the olives. Really cool. So now I have to water this one by hand with this little dumb hose, but it works. And then I decided, well, what the heck? These trees are all dead over here. I thought they were all dead, right? So this one was fairly good. It was getting enough water from the leak that went on for 20 years, and it was a huge leak. So these guys got plenty of water for a couple decades, or a decade, or a couple years from the leak. Wait a minute. There's 40 people up here. Oh, hi everybody. Hi Prince. I am in Central California at the San Jose Candle Company. That's the name of it online. You can map it. We're in a rural area of Tuolumne County, California, the Central California, kind of in the mother lode, the gold rush country. Sonora is a town that's just right up over there. And there's the Sierra Nevada mountains with the Sonora Pass is over there somewhere. And there's Crimson Kevin. I'll just ignore that. Yeah, it looks gorgeous. It is gorgeous. So anyway, here we are, and we are in a rural industrial park. We own about 2 acres, 1.7 acres. This is the 8,000 square foot warehouse that houses the Beeswax Church Candle Factory. And for you new people, my husband sells about 1 million Orthodox tapered church candles per year to Orthodox and anybody who wants to buy them, all across the United States and even in Mexico. We ship candles to Project Mexico. Yeah, it's peaceful, except for the noise pollution. I can't really call it noise pollution because it is an industrial park. That's the Diesel Turkey packaging plant right over that fence. They're the owners of the 300 acres, except for our little 1.7 acre parcel that my husband bought in about 1998 and built because he's a self-taught electrical engineer from Silicon Valley and a former deacon of 30 years. He's part of the Santa Cruz Miracle, where hundreds of people converted from Protestant Christianity at this little church called the Weekirk up there in Ben Lomond. And he became an Orthodox deacon back in 87 with a lot of other people who got ordained. Then he transferred to the OCA, and he was the deacon here in a church in Sonora that he helped found and, get the building going for. Well, bought the building. Anyway, so these trees were not getting any water because we only bought this little part of the parcel over here a couple years ago, and I just never thought about these poor trees that were completely with no leaves, okay? So these guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 were recently getting water with a shorter soaker hose. Okay, so 6 of them. But no, and then 7. Yeah, these 7 were getting water. So this one's doing really well. That's been for about the past month only. So they've really come back nice. Maybe 2 months. I'd have to go look at all my videos to see the before. These are olive trees. Okay, so yes, these are olive. I'm so glad I can see the chats this time. I can talk to you guys. So there's 9 folks now. Hi, everybody. I'm the Orthodox Boomer Grandma. I've only been Orthodox 10 years. Coming up this Friday, October 4th, I was baptized. I grew up Roman Catholic in Berkeley, California. My parents fell away. So did I. I was a teenager in the 70s in Berkeley, if you can imagine. I won't even probably need to say what I fell into. And then I was in a Hindu cult for 12 years, a meditation cult, which did teach me how to sit still. So now when I pray, I can sit for hours sometimes praying and saying the Jesus prayer and talking to God. So that was one good thing. Everybody should do that. Try to sit and say the Jesus prayer for a certain amount of time and have a guide, a spiritual father, and work your way up. Anyway, so now back to the trees. So then these trees here were I thought they were just dead, but I got a longer soaker hose. So these now down here, these last 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 trees have been getting water for about 2 weeks, maybe less than 2 weeks. So this one, obviously getting the most water because the soaker hose, it sort of peters out towards the end and you get less water, but you can tell by the grass, where the most water has been. And isn't that beautiful grass? Yeah, it's not like these weeds. And this railroad track right here is a private railroad owned by Sierra Pacific Industries, I think, or they've taken it over, and it's about 7 times a week we have very loud, awesome trains go by full of lumber. So they're traveling from the sawmill up there. There's 2. One is close by, one is further up. My son works at the one further away. He's a stacker now at age, 24. So pray for Asa and his family. Anyway, they ship the lumber on this train track all the way down to Oakdale, and then it, goes to other places. Who knows, maybe even Japan, because I think they buy a lot of lumber from America. Anyway, so this tree's doing well. Now this tree was the one I was really watching, and there we go. We have some life appearing. Isn't that neat? Okay, and then as we go further down, I don't see any green leaves on number, let's see, 13, 12, 11. I think this is number 10 of the ones that we are rehabilitating. Somebody did some weed eating and then uncovered these bottles back there. I guess I better get rid of those and some of their garbage stuff here. And here's another one where I don't think I see any green leaves yet, but I'm praying, we're praying, you guys can pray that we will get some life. Now the one on the end, I'm not sure how this one has any life. Oh, except for this area right here in the winter completely fills up with water from the little rivulet, like a little dry riverbed over there that snakes down out of these hills. In the winter, okay, so you can Google the Red Hills of California. The Red Hills of California. Google that, and you'll learn about this area that is beyond the railroad tracks, beyond the candle factory. It is owned by the citizens of the United States. It is Bureau of Land Management land. Some of it's private, like I think right there, that might be private. But anyway, the water soaks into the hills and then drains down. and some of it comes right here. So you can see over there, there's some green stuff. So this guy is probably getting some water out of the groundwater from underneath. But yet, I'm sure this soaker hose is helping, and it's on right now. But you can see, even though this is on full blast, oops, I can't really see because the sun's on me. Yeah, it's dripping a little, so it's nice. And it's a very cheap solution for doing a drip system. And I leave it on for a couple hours every day, and I'm just so excited to see new life. I had the brownest thumb for my whole life because I spent my whole life in school and studying and being a career woman. I got a PhD in clinical psychology I finished it up in the 90s. There goes Tom with his dog Rowdy. So that's our delivery van. Not sure where Tom's going. That is Tom and his dog, and he is our faithful, Renaissance man, I guess. He can do everything. He does the plumbing, he does the electric around here. My husband runs the business on the computer. Tom does all the fixing, and he cuts our icon boards too. So we're praying that God will... There's my cat Jinxie. So that's a interesting story too. She survived falling into a pot of boiling wax. Hi Ella, Riaz, Ronnie, yes, the olive trees. Thanks for staying on here. It's fun. I'm gonna give you a more full tour. I'll take you some other places. Anyway, she fell into a pot of boiling, very hot wax that was being used to dip to make all the million candles we make per year for churches, Orthodox mostly. So from the hips down, the back legs were completely burnt. You can see a little scar there on her back right leg. She loves hunting, but it took her 3 months to heal, which was a very difficult process with scabs, and the vet had to take off, fur, and it was tragic. But we prayed and prayed, and God saved her, and she's doing pretty good now. Anyway, so yes, back to the trees. Oh, you can see over there's a lot more water the closer you get to the source. Anyway, so these rocks over here are rocks that my husband and his son a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago, collected from around here, from around the Red Hills. Don't forget to Google the Red Hills and see the beauty that we have just out our back door, where there are species of wildflowers that don't grow anywhere else on the entire planet. And there's even a little tiny fish called the Red Hills roach that swims in the little creeks out there. Now on this other side here, oh, there goes the van. Bye, Tom. Probably had to go buy something. Oh, anyway, if you see that big pasture there, sometimes cattle are brought there to graze. And I think that might be a piece of property that's private. So there's the turkey factory. They don't slaughter turkeys here, and they don't grow them. So there's no smell, really. There's a lot of light pollution, though, at night. And, of course, the noise. If I want peace and stillness, Hezekiah, which we all need more than anything in our busy, distracted, media-filled lives, gotta at least have a place in your house where you can be quiet and sit and find stillness. It's a tangible feeling. It's almost like the feeling of when I experience it. It's like honey being dripped into the top of my head, into me. I can't describe it any other way. But out there, you see where it's green, there's a spring there. So I've discovered a source of hopefully year-round water, because I am planning for the apocalypse. I'm just that type of person. It's not like we have a lot of food stored up here, not enough. I want to get some more rice and beans because we want to be able to help people, when it gets closer. The name of the place that we live in, which we're living in the RVs, not that one, a bigger one, in the back I'll show you. Oh, look at the doves. We've got lots of doves here. If you can see those. Yeah, pairs of doves everywhere. Anyway, it's called the Father Seraphim Rose Orthodox Christian Strugglers Refuge. So we do have people come visit us sometimes and stay with us. And these rocks are being saved for, if God willing, He allows, if the county approves our permit request, this whole area over here which is being rented now by a propane gas company. They used to store these huge propane tanks there. I mean, big ones. They took them all away, but when we get ready to build this little RV spot, I don't call it an RV park, it would be a place where 4 big 40-footer RVs could pull in and then be able to pull straight out into that road. And then we could have 3 trailers along the side of the fence, maybe, even to have people in this county that need a place to live to go to work, like over there. So we could have some month-to-month renters, and then eventually we would, the permit plans call for a manufactured home to be there at the back. Now, we need shade over here. You notice? Okay, it gets to be 113 degrees here. Sounds painful. Sugar. Yes. Okay. Well, actually, thank you. I can't say your name because it looks like it's in Russian, but hi. Salt is what we've discovered. Hi, Rooster. Salt is what we've discovered we really need because last Great Lent, we started eating clean. We went totally vegan. God took away any desire for sugar, whipped cream, dairy, cheese, butter, meat. We did straight vegan for a while, and then, eventually we introduced meat back in and stuff like that. But I didn't really introduce any salt into the food when I was making all these beans and lentils and put any salt in. So my husband, who is diabetic and is 78 years old, the former deacon, who actually retired and then stepped down and was laicized in order to marry me. I call myself an ex-wannabe monastic, an ex-wannabe nun, but I certainly get to have plenty of time for prayer here in the Orthodox Strugglers Refuge. And my belief is that, all Orthodox Christians, even householders, which is what we are, if we live in the world and we have jobs, we're lucky we get to live a little bit out of the world, so it's very helpful. But we're all called to ceaseless noetic prayer. It's not easy. I'm still struggling to pray every minute. Anyway, breathing reminds me to remember God, and getting old and looking at myself in the mirror and see how my body's changing and falling apart helps me remember death. So I'm 66. So I'm the Orthodox Boomer Grandma. So all you young people know what's coming ahead. If God lets you live long enough, you'll start to fall apart. But it is actually very humbling, and it's very useful to face into it, as an ascetic podvig. This is where I sit when I'm praying, when it's not too hot, and it's so beautiful under the olive trees. And I have built myself, Tom built it, a little prayer tree, okay? So I can share this. Yeah, I just sometimes... Oh, my Orthodox birthday is Friday, October 4th. 10 years only. So I climb up in here sometimes, and I stand up in the tree and pray. There are saints who lived in trees. Now, I know I'm not one of them. And we got Saint Seraphim of Seraph, that icon up there. That's one that we made, because we have an icon business too. So we have San Jose Candle Company. You can go look. And we also have unionofallicons.com, which is also our website for selling icons. Mainly, they're icons that were painted by an Orthodox priest who now reposed, Father Luke Dingman. And yes, and he was made a Hieroschema monk, priest monk, on his deathbed by Abba Father Paisios from St. Anthony's Monastery in Arizona. So he was, I guess Elder Ephraim was his spiritual father, and he went down there a lot. I actually was able to go to St. Anthony's when my spiritual father, that's Jinxie. Okay, so a guy who likes turtles. Jinxie knows how to open. I'll show you these in a minute, because I see a lot of new people up here. I'm going to give you guys the full tour. It helps my mood to focus on this. What was I saying? One thing when you get old. Okay, so see that truck? Those trucks are going by up to, there's a tree grinding yard run by the power right up the road. So it's kind of noisy out here. So if we do get a spot for RVs, we'll probably be open to the public for a little while until the end of the world comes, and we get Orthodox people that want to live here in community in their little trailers or RVs. That's sort of the vision. When I married the deacon who stepped down in 2016, we decided to move to the factory and sell the house that my mom left me in order to be able to pay off the building and so not to be in debt. And oh, happy birthday. Oh, well, it's okay. And happy birthday to your dad. Yeah. Oh, Marie, I'm going to call you today. Maybe tomorrow. Anyway, so yeah, Jinxie's great. She can open these 10-foot alder doors. I'll show you. But the prayer tree is really like, I started reading about Saint David the Dendrite. So that's a whole category of saints who went up in trees. And I will tell you, it is different praying when you are standing in a living being. Tree is alive. So when you're standing in prayer in the tree, even if it's only a couple feet off the ground, it gives you a different feeling in your heart, in your nous. And so sometimes I do come up here. I really need to come up here more. Yes, climbing trees and reading. Oh my gosh, Marie. So we, when I grew up in Berkeley, Kensington, I'm trying to shrink this back now. I can't. We had a loquat tree out on the street, and we used to climb up there and pretend we were in the TV show Lost in Space. It was our spaceship. And I always played Penny, Angela Cartwright's character. That's who I always wanted to be. In the tree. Yeah. Anyway, so it's a nice place to come pray. And my grandson runs up here. He's not Orthodox yet. Pray for Grayson and his parents that they get dark. He runs up here because, he knows God a little. We've taught him. We've taken him to church a lot. So he'll just run up here and start praying, like just out loud. It's amazing. Lead them. And so for a little while we had a genuine Russian Orthodox pilgrim. Mother Catherine, the abbess or Mother Superior at the new monastery nearby, which used to be a men's monastery of St. Silouan the Athonite, well, our good friends, the monks, Father Ignatius and Father Maximus, reposed in 2022 and early 2023. So the Rocor, who was in control of that monastery, sent Mother Catherine. So it's going to become a women's convent now. And she has one novice, and the church is going up inside of what used to be like a barn garage that was just full of stuff. I rescued some of it, but it had a lot of rat poop and, dirt and all kinds of stuff. It was a big process to clean it out, but it's already had a few divine liturgies served in it. Okay, so there's not a regular priest living there yet, but hopefully that's, pray for them. It's called the Monastery of St. Catherine of Sinai, which I know it's St. Catherine of Alexandria is her actual name, but it's named for the monastery that is at the base of Mount Sinai, where my husband and I rode camels up to the top of and actually got to go into the chapel, the Orthodox church on top of Mount Sinai for liturgy that started at 3 a.m. and ended at about 8 a.m. So that's a great memory. If we all can ever travel again freely to the Holy Land and places like that, Mount Sinai, it'd be great. So these trucks drive these logs up the road here to this grinding deck where the trees that have been burnt in the many California fires get ground up. And then they travel a little further up the road. They put the chips back in the trucks or different trucks, and they go up to the top of the road, and they're burnt mainly with no pollution. I mean, they scrub the chimneys. You never see smoke coming out, but it's burned and turned into electricity. So that's kind of cool. So we have turkeys packaged, we have tree grinding, we have electricity being made, and we have 1 million beeswax candles being made. Oh, I forgot. I was telling you about our Russian pilgrim. Mother Catherine dropped off this man named Vladimir. I never even really got his last name or phone number. We trusted Mother Catherine, and so he was a guy who was about my age, maybe a little older. He was ethnically Russian, but he grew up in Soviet times in the Ukraine, where he became a submariner. So he worked on a scientific Ukrainian submarine. And he showed me the YouTube video, so I know he was telling the truth. Anyway, he came and stayed with us for, I guess it was like maybe a month and a half. And he immediately started taking care of the trees, because when he was at St. Anthony's, which he was under the spiritual direction of Elder Ephraim from 2000 to 2019 when he reposed, he used to be at St. Anthony's, but not as a monk, but as like a worker. And he would take care of all their 10,000 tree orchard, apparently. So he knew what he was doing with the trees. So he cleaned out our old chicken coop and got out all the chicken manure and turned it into, just put it around each tree. This is an apricot tree that had really good fruit this year. Oh, we had apricots for weeks. He put it in these big circles around, and so when it gets watered, the nutrients from the chicken poop go down into the soil. So that was one thing that I had been praying literally for 3-4 years, for somebody to come and help with the trees, because I can't do anything. I mean, pray that we have people that even come and pick olives, because some years, we don't. And look at this. Look at all that fruit. He was adamant, that we pick it, of course, Vladimir was, and hope he comes back. So he's at St. Anthony's now. So that's one project that he picked up and ran with, that I'd been praying to God for a long time for. Oh, I got to show you one other project he started. So he was living in this little RV. But I did notice that he took mostly everything with him when his friend came, who's a truck driver who goes across America with 18-wheelers. He picked him up and took him to Anthony. But another thing that I want to do for years, because we make icons, I wanted to make icon rocks, because we have a rock saw over here. So this one, the saw was only brought down off of the ceiling above where we live inside, like a month ago, and it's being restored to be able to cut rocks. My husband and his son used to mine dendritic opal out of the Red Hills in a legal claim they had for a bunch of years. So we've got tons of dendritic opal rocks around. This is not one of them. This is just a rock that Vladimir found on the railroad, on the railroad track area, because they put some nice rocks down there. So he glued this little tiny sample icon from an Orthodox calendar onto the rock and made it. And he made a lot of them. So we are trying to give those away as free gifts when we ship, a box of icons that has room enough for one. This rock here is called howlite, which when it's cut open, it's a very beautiful grayish white. Oh, it's blurry. I'm sorry. Hopefully that's better now. A gray and white rock with like gray. It's a grayish white rock with gray veins. So it's very marbled. And people actually dye it blue and turn it into fake turquoise to rip people off, which we will never do, of course. Anyway, so we have a lot of big pieces of howlite sitting around the place. So project number 2 of Vladimir. The other, hopefully this phone, I'm not on, I am on Wi-Fi. So I wonder if I should, isn't that neat? Saint Seraphim of Seraph. And it's got these cuts in it. And it's just a simple rock. Hopefully this will keep recording. All right. This is one of our cedar outbuildings that has the cross, the original cross from when the monastery was St. Silouan's. Mother Catherine gave me that cross. And so we hope God will allow us to turn this into a chapel one day. But it was a chicken coop. We're not sure about Vladimir. I did email St. Anthony's and say, hey, monks, if you have a guy there that's really tall, his name is Vladimir, and you guys probably know him because he said he used to go there all the time. Could you ask him if he's ever going to come back? Or give him this phone number? So I haven't heard yet. I don't know. But he did tell us that this is what he does. He is a wanderer. He's a genuine Russian. I don't know what the word is, Podniki or something. I mean, he walks around the United States. He said it got a lot harder after 9/11 because, he would get rides. But he goes from monastery to monastery and he works for free. You can't pay him. I would constantly ask him to eat with us and he'd always decline and say he was fine. I'm not sure what he was really eating. Yeah. He harvested all the apples and he lived on his harvest of the apples that he canned in the kitchen. He lived on that for weeks. And, then he started making kvass, which is the Russian like soda, non-alcoholic. So we started buying him bread because our bread was disappearing. I'm like, Vladimir, we want to buy you food, so let us do it. It was so funny. So anyway, yes, a real Russian, the way of a pilgrim. It was a miracle. I don't think I ever took a picture of him because he probably wouldn't have wanted me to. But sometimes when he would sit down over there by the table under the olive trees, I would sit down and we would have these talks for hours where he would share stories with me. Well, Tom is more of a jack of all trades. Vladimir, the trees, cleaning and making that little rock icons. Yes, but I'll tell you a funny story over here on the other cedar outbuilding. So this had a roof that was blown off. This thing was a mess. It's, the other building that's been here I'm pretty sure my husband built it within the first 5 years that he bought this place in 98. So very early 2000s. It's the size that is below the size that you have to get a permit for. So 10 by 13 or so. And Vladimir just started cleaning it out one day, starting with the huge mining pit. Yes, a podvizhnik. I think that's what he is when he arrives at a monastery. So yes, pray for Vladimir. Pray that he does wander back here someday. I mean, could be years. Who knows? Hopefully we'll still be here, Lord willing, or maybe tomorrow. But this cactus out here was sitting in a half an oak barrel out near the front where our candle dipper lives in his van. Our loyal, candle dipper. He's not Orthodox either, but he's never missed a day of work in 15 years making the candles. And he lives in his van right here on the property. So we try to help him as best we can. A podvizhnik. Yes. And there is another one, podvizhnik, who over at the new monastery of St. Catherine. And there's work days and work parties coming there from churches all over the, Central California. But this cactus that my husband's son, Tom, had put there out near the front, it even had one of these big ears or pods or whatever you call them, had a carving in it of an Orthodox cross. I guess that limb fell off or died. I do need to probably water it a little, but look at the fruit. You can eat those prickly pears. I've tried, and I am always scouting around for food, that grows out here. So I have found, we got the prickly pears, we got these fruit trees. Here's the railroad grade. Here's the red hills. Okay, so Vladimir started cleaning this out, starting with the big mining pit underneath. And then suddenly he started building this little stone wall around the base in order to be able to keep water from getting in the winter, supposedly. Although you can see, it didn't get finished, and Tom actually thinks he might have to rip it all out and start over. But the miracle was, because I've been praying for years for something to be done to restore these so they could become little, cells. I say cell because you guys are Orthodox, or you say a little tiny house. The bathroom is, there's several bathrooms and showers inside the building. But, we could do a porta potty over here, something. There won't be water. My husband is now on fire for restoring this building, which is the miracle. Hi, a guy who likes turtles. Yes, cacti are so great. And you can eat those prickly pears. I have found other things like dock, which is a kind of a leafy thing you can eat. There's one other plant that looks like an octopus, and it grows very flat to the ground. I didn't see it this year, though. It's also edible. High in essential fatty acids. I can't remember the name. But anyway, with the water source across the road, and I don't know, we have stocked up, like I said, but we're just trying to become a place that could be a refuge for Orthodox people, if when they need to maybe get out of San Francisco, because I have some good Orthodox friends down there. So anyway, this is being restored. So the first thing, of course, was to get all the garbage out of the mining pit hole, which could still possibly be turned into a, if we put a trap door here, it could turn into a root cellar or a place to hide if you needed to. But put the floor in, and then Tom just started going to town, and my husband started paying for things. Like, yeah, Vladimir was so into bartering. He's like, oh, you should barter more. And I'm like, yeah, we barter. We go to Lowe's and we barter these things called greenbacks that we happen to have because of the candle business. We barter greenbacks for stuff that we need. I don't know if he got the joke, but anyway, so we did start in here. The first thing that happened was I said, there has to be a skylight for the loft bed. And these windows need to be turned into real working windows, not just holes. But the very first thing was Tom fixed the roof, which had been blown off in our almost little hurricane that we had here a few times. So right now he's still plugging all the tiny holes in the roof. I see another one that's still open there, to get it ready for winter, because it is time to stop working on this. The plan is to make a huge order of icons that we got from the Awakenings bookstore in Felton, up there, St. Lawrence Church, where Father Luke, our iconographer, served. And then we have to put more up on our store, Union of All Icons. I found a whole roll around, cart with a bunch of icons under towels that I had not labeled or bagged or put on inventory yet. So I have to do that. And it includes some icons of the Sinai Christ, the very famous encaustic beeswax icon that is in the public domain. So we can, sell that. Yeah, and we're making icons of St. Catherine, also public domain images, and we're just giving those to Mother Catherine at the monastery so she can give them to visitors, guests, donors. She actually gave one, she told me, to a California congresswoman who was very positive about her vision for the monastery. It's going to be very oriented towards children, helping young adults, and outreach to the community. So it's not going to be an Athonite style, monastery of heavily cloistered nuns. They will be doing stuff and opening the doors to the public. So pray for that place. Anyway, so the funny thing is after Tom put this beginning of the insulation in, I said, but no, I live inside a warehouse with no windows. Please, you've got to cut a ginormous hole in this wall and put me in it's funny because the size that came to mind was 5x4, 6x4, because look at the view. And when it starts raining, it all turns vibrantly green, and it would be a great place for me to come out and do more writing, because my first book is with a monastic Orthodox publisher. Thank God. I don't know how that happened, because I had crucified the book and taken it off Amazon, and it's out there. In fact, Marie, she's reading it. Anyway, we got 4 people. I guess I should make this quicker. Anyway, we got to finish wrapping this up for winter. I could picture myself spending a lot of time in there, because right now we live in our 700 square foot ballroom of the Blessed Seraphim Rose Orthodox Strugglers Refuge. Here's where all the dead machines go. Those are 2 dead cars. There is Steve, the candle dipper, sunburned. And let's go see what's on the racks. So here's the candle factory. Oh, this RV is one we used to live in. Then my son lived in it. And now it's going to be open. We have guests coming up from San Diego, hopefully on October 19th, to stay for 4 nights. This window was the first one Tom bought to go in that little building. Yeah, isn't that view great? Well, when I show you where I live, you'll know why I need a window. Anyway, this one was too small, too tall and a little too not wide enough. And I realized, I want a window that's the shape of my large television, that aspect ratio. What is it, 16 by 19 by 6, or I don't know. It's just the perfect size, shape of a window. So we're going to trade this one back. He only paid $100 for that. Anyway, here are some candles. These are unusual size for me. They're little, they're going to become 6 inches, because the next thing that has to happen is the bottom of the candles will be melted off in that long wax trough, tub, or whatever you want to call it. They'll be melted off up to about here, and then they'll be cut off and then boxed up for shipping. So these are all the other racks that my husband had to have made by spec, because the older racks, a lot of them, he wanted to be able to put more candles on each rack. So when Steve is dipping into these 2 huge melt pots, we're making about 4,800 candles on a run of candles on these giant iron carousels that came from, I know, the beeswax. My husband and his spiritual father, well, he died as Hieroschema monk Athanasios, but it was Father Michael Rome who was his best friend when they were both Protestants. So Father Michael and eventually he became Father Michael Rome, and this guy named Marian Cardoza, who later became Father Seraphim Cardoza, who became Rocor and had a church on Highway 5 in Southern Oregon. He moved away, but those 2 men were my husband's best friends, and they baptized him as Protestants in the St. Lawrence River near the Santa Cruz Mountains, or in them. And they had the little church called the Wee Kirk, and then they all became Orthodox after a years-long study journey of the church fathers. So it's called the Santa Cruz Miracle, and hundreds of people became Orthodox, and then a whole bunch of them got ordained, including my husband. So anyway, I'll show you. Oh, no, that one's not hot. Oh, that's right. So the furnace crapped out today, so everything is becoming unmolten. All the wax is cooling down. Yeah, see? So we can't make candles today until they fix the furnace. Pray for St. John of San Francisco and Shanghai. Please heal the furnace. There's a fan right there that keeps the workers cool. It's basically a freestanding swamp cooler, and there's a little tiny swamp cooler. So this is the whole candle area. We do make 18 inchers here. We make bishop's candles, we make votives. So, but most of the orders, they come online. The orders are done over the phone. It's very old school because my husband's 78. But the website of sanjosecandle.com is like the catalog. So you go up there, and most of the churches that they buy from him regularly. Here is some beeswax that's tainted with 20% paraffin. I'm trying to sell it, but honestly, I have given some away. Some people don't care. I can't burn anything with paraffin anymore, now that I've experienced pure beeswax. Here's some of the votive candles. So, yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to go back around. So we have Steve and Hillary working here. We try to love on them, and sometimes I make big pots of soup, and, God's trying to teach me to love my neighbor more. So I'll, let him have soup and stuff. So God's working on me still. This used to be a garden pen. Way back when my husband's son actually grew marijuana plants in here. But they kept getting stolen because there was a trailer park next door, and they would come and steal it. So that ended. And then it became our garden, and now it's Bear's Pen. Oh, I know where Tom was going. He's going to pick up our Great Pyrenees 150-pound 3-year-old dog at his groomers. Instead of taking it to Wilco, he took him to his groomers. Anyway, all right, so that's pretty good on that. Now, I guess, since I still have, how many people? 5 people? 4 people. I'm going to give you guys the rest of the tour because you may be new. It is amazing, Marie. I'm so blessed that God lets me, live here, work here. We keep the door closed when it's hot, which we are going to go through another huge heat wave. It's going to be 100 tomorrow. Here's the kitchen that I had to beg my husband to build for me after cooking in the little tiny RV for 3 years. So Tom built this. Hi, number 5, whoever you are. This is the great kitchen. So this whole area used to be piled high with trash, and it was the main thoroughfare for the rattlesnakes and the rats, but not anymore. We do have a mouse sometimes, but I have a trap waiting for him back here. Oh, so these are some more of the icons of Father Luke Dingman. We don't have this one, St. Nectarius, on the internet yet in our store, but I need to get him up there soon. Then there's St. Silouan. And then, I'm sorry, I shouldn't even block them like this. I know it's probably inappropriate, but I just needed to have some saints to look at while I'm trying to cook. Yes, it's an upgrade, Marie. There's St. Peter the Aleut, and that's not made by hands. And then this is one of Father Luke's older icons. I didn't used to really like it, but we made a whole bunch of huge ones, extra large at the beginning. And now I'm in love with this one. I think it's called the Tenderness. There's a bunch of different ones. Here's Father Luke's protection of the Theotokos, which is beautiful. I know. Hi, Kristen. There's St. Mary Magdalene. And let's see, who else do we have in here? Oh, we've got this great St. Nicholas. He's not on the internet yet. Yeah, and then over here, oh, this is one of my favorite icons. Christ the Bridegroom. Just love that. I'm never alone. I have to have people with me. They are gorgeous. And then St. Peter and Paul. Now, I don't know if this one shows it, but one quality of our icons, after we coat them and bake them, is they pop out into a little bit of a 3D where you can actually feel the fingers and the folds of the clothes. And they're super glossy and shiny, and they're very vibrant. Oh, that's the bridegroom. I have Extreme Humility as a whole different icon, where he's actually, coming up out of the tomb, or he's going into the tomb, actually. But yeah, very similar. Yeah, this one is, well, Christ the Bridegroom. Extreme Humility looks totally different, because there he is wearing the kingly crown of thorns and everything. But whatever, it's all good. So yeah, we get this nice 3D property, and yeah, so I try to make a plant-based smoothie every morning for my hubby, and I'm learning how to cook lentils and whatever those things are called. Not a cook by nature, but God's working with me. And the warehouse is, kind of messy. I got this clothes rack, and I hang the clothes on the rack right near where the air conditioner is blowing out extremely hot air. For the summer, I haven't had to use the dryer, except maybe for underwear, because you don't want to really put the underwear out here in public. Like, it's not really public, but you know what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so these are some of the paraffin candles that my husband does not make anymore. There are some paraffin, I'm just going for as long as I feel like going. There's some paraffin candle machine monuments that are out here. They're kind of hidden now. They're behind Jinxie, those tall things. So if we ever had tour buses going through, I would love to make a little platform over there where you saw the roll-up next to the candles being made for tourists. But I think that's going to have to wait till we have another, like an Orthodox family or something that wants to come and, live here and start taking over, because my husband, again, 78, and I'm 66. Oh, look what I got at the rummage sale at church. I think it could go in the little outbuilding chapel, on the little altar. But, yeah, so Tom also worked an entire weekend doing someone's bathroom in exchange to give this scooter to my husband, because his ankle is now so bad he can't walk the dogs with me up to the power plant. So now he rides with us. It's so wonderful. Tom, I mean, he's not a Christian by word, by saying, but his behavior is very close and sometimes way more Christian behaving than me. Okay, so you get my drift. So we can't judge the heart. Here's the drawer that I discovered after he left, because he didn't really tell me he put these in here, of the free gift for icon purchase, if they fit, of the little rock icons that he made. Yeah, and these have not been, we didn't use the rock saw on these. He just made these. And they're, they could be glued onto your car, the front, whatever called dashboard. I love this one. Yeah, so I think I got the gist, and I can continue making these. Oh, look at that. If we use the rock saw, then of course we could have a flat surface for him to sit on and a flat surface to glue them on. So again, this is something, because we have all this dendritic opal and all that howlite, and we used to have more rock saws, but we actually gave one away. We didn't really mean to, but it was misunderstood that it was a loan, and it moved to a different state. But yeah, so these are those. And then here's where I store the really big icons. And those drawers down there are full of icons, but they hurt my shoulder to open them because they're not oiled. But here are some. I had to take a lot out of the drawers because they were laying on each other and there just wasn't room. And so this is Father Luke's St. Isaac the Syrian, which you will see memes all over the internet and Facebook. And I always have to go and say, oh, that's a copyrighted image of Father Luke Dingman. You can buy it at unionofallicons.com. But it's okay. St. Innocent of Alaska, very beautiful. St. Tikhon, and the 3D on these, you can even see it through the bag. You can see the mountains. You can touch the mountains. Well, we are getting more business. Now, it's interesting, Kristen, Slow Boy Whiteboard, that God has kind of kept the flow to what I can handle, given all my other responsibilities of cooking, cleaning, and finishing up my book, Confessions of a Controlaholic. So we recently, though, got an order from a husband and an order from a wife, fairly new Orthodox people, who bought like 6 or 12 or something. And they sent me an email saying how much they loved them. So we don't have testimonials on the store of Union of All Icons yet, but I might ask people if I can put their names up. This is a different iconographer. So if you go to Young Penitent's channel, Young Penitent, and look up his video called The Unknown Iconographer. This is an icon by Daniel Ogen. He went to Russia right when the wall, when everything came down and the Soviet system, collapsed, like in 90 or 91. And he did street ministry in Moscow for a while, serving the poor as Orthodox. I mean, he's almost my husband's age, so he's been around. And he was trained in Moscow and Siberia of how to be an iconographer. Okay, a peek of the Pantocrator to the right. I have a Pantocrator back here? I don't think I do, actually. Oh, to the right. No, that is the Sinai. Yes, the Sinai Pantocrator, public domain image. So yes, this one is going to be up on the internet very soon. I think we're sold out, but look at his eyes. I mean, you could even see the 3D. Absolutely gorgeous. I love you, Jesus. And of course, the hospitality of Abraham, which is sort of a counterpoint to Daniel Ogen's icon. Like I said, Young Penitent, the unknown iconographer, to hear his whole life, not his whole life story, but a lot of it. And my husband and he met in the Santa Cruz Mountains again, and we're very good friends. So this actually, okay, so a little secret here. This is done by Father Luke's daughter at the monastery of St. John the Forerunner up in Goldendale, Washington. So we are allowed to make her icons too, and they have a softer flavor. They're a little bit less, well, I don't know what you'd call this style. It's a little more, I don't know, I just say Antiochian or something, Antiochian. I don't know, it's a little more, it's just different. And these are a little more soft. So yeah, so we have the rights to do these, so I got to get those up on the internet. Oh, and then these have been sold out forever. I love the icons that are associated with water and healing. So Christ Healing the Blind Man by Father Luke. And I love the colors he uses, the pink font and the kind of pinkish mountain and the purpley mountain, and gorgeous. And yeah, there's a bit of 3D on this. So this up here is the 400 square foot spray booth. Okay, that it comes down and it blows up. And that's where Tom sprays the icons. And then we cook them in an actual oven. So let me show you that really quick, because I do think we have new people. So I was seized with the urge to create a place in here where we could work on icons that had a ceiling, unlike the wood shop. So this is where we cut the boards, and all this equipment came to us in a very difficult way, but it was the original equipment my husband helped purchase up in Ben Lomond, and it ended up being used by Conciliar Press to make icons for years, and then it kind of retired for a while. We give the widow of Father Luke money for each icon we make and sell. Yes, we have a contract with a percentage that goes to Nancy. Yep, and we do that same thing with Daniel Ogan. So it can help support their family. And we're not like searching for new iconographers or anything right now, but eventually maybe we would be able to, after God sends some people that can really help us more. Here's the clean room. So I was walking around going, yeah, there's so much dirt coming down. It's falling on the icons when they're not dry. It's horrible. So I had this vision, like an idea just came to me. It had to be God. Let's just get some filter material and build like a fake ceiling, but it will keep the dust from settling down. But the water could still get through if there's a fire, because we have a huge sprinkler system in this warehouse. Oh, Jinxie, come back. All those are sprinklers up there. So we actually dropped the sprinklers down into the center. We call it the Orthodox Strugglers Refuge, which is just now where we have to live. So we dropped the sprinklers there, but here they're just up there, and it would be very expensive to put real ceilings and drop the water down inside. So we have this totally porous material. I tested it. Water comes right through. This is the clean room. This was the thing. This piece right here gave me the idea to do a stainless steel kitchen because we had an extra one. Here's the oven that we bake. This is where they sit after baking. This filter system here was actually used by my husband's son. Yeah, the Orthodox Strugglers, Ascetic Strugglers Refuge, Blessed Seraphim Roses. This filter system was used to blow very clean filtered air across the area where my husband's son had been doing his THC tincture laboratory. Okay, so that was happening, and that was, I don't know if it was, I guess it was after marijuana was made legal. I don't know. Anyway, that doesn't exist anymore. So, we've had this place blessed by bishops, by priests, by monks. We get it blessed as often as anybody comes. Here's another one of these. Now, these haven't been sprayed yet. This one hasn't even been finished painting yet. So this is where we paint the edges, and then they get sprayed. When that thing comes down and popped up, oh, Seraphim Goose, hi. Gosh, you're at the hour mark of a tour. You'll have to go back. No, I'm kidding. That's the oven for baking them after they've been coated with the acrylic. And see, there's no 3D on these before they've been sprayed. These are just prints that I make on a 9-color printer in my office, in the library, where I have about 800 to 1,000 Orthodox books that if people come visit me, if they are local, so far I've been loaning, a few here and there. Okay, so that's the altar door that this cat knows how to open. She's not in the mood to go in right now, so she jumps up on that handle and pops it down. Yes, you will, Seraphim. It was so good to see you again at Platina. I think my husband caught a virus there, though, because I think there were a lot of people that had maybe had the stabby around up there. I don't know, because he never gets sick, but he came home And then we, 4 days later or 3 days later, yeah, we left on Tuesday. He was sick by Thursday, and it went up to almost 102. The following Tuesday, I dragged him to the ER when he couldn't stand up. Oh, in December. Well, you got to tell me. Maybe we can make another trip up there. We used to go twice a year. It's getting a little harder, but I love going when there's nobody there. Like for the Feast of St. Herman of Alaska's, I think, Repose, maybe in December. But, keep in touch. Sarah from Goose. You can even email me at dr.alexandra.union@gmail.com, or go on my channel and comment or something. But anyway, yeah, email's best. So up there is where we store. This has a real ceiling and real sprinklers that go down. So when COVID hit, speaking of virus, oh yeah, Elias. So we went to the ER and his sodium chloride level was 121. And now I know, after researching, why the ER doctor and nurses were bugging their eyes out at my husband. You mean, okay, Michelle, you mean in Anderson, right? Yeah. Well, I don't know if she really has my info, but, you can always find me. Like I said, dr.alexandra.union@gmail.com. Okay, so yes, apparently with sodium chloride depletion, and he is diabetic, the next step for him, when he couldn't get up out of bed and he could barely walk and his balance was off and he was acting confused and he turned into like a 20-year older man that I didn't recognize. When they found that out, they gave him some saline, and then they just sent us home and said, yeah, you got to eat salt. They didn't tell us like how, and they did say, oh, don't increase your salt too quickly because you can die from that. So he was heading in towards more confusion, convulsions, coma, and death. And only because we went to the ER because he couldn't stand up, did we find out the cause was this sodium deficiency. It was a blood test. His doctor at the VA here in Sonora even said that a virus can trigger or contribute to sodium going down. I don't know how a virus would do that, but yeah. So now he's better. He's back to being my husband and everything, and we're trying to eat salt all the time, and it might even be why I'm so fatigued. So we're trying to get back to health. Anyway, so back here, I did another clean room for the art studio. So this is technically an encaustic beeswax painting art studio. This is a huge 44-inch printer that I would love to be able to make big banners, banners of, say, like life-size icons of St. John of Shanghai and San Francisco, because he's really my patron. He's the one that got me into Orthodoxy in a couple dreams before I really knew who he was. So this would be where we do the beeswax painting, and Tom recently even put in a hood to suck the fumes out, because you don't paint with just beeswax, because if you just use beeswax, if it got hot, it would just melt off. So you have to mix a resin type of hard material into the molten beeswax that you can color with different pigments. So this was a test thing that I made. I printed this out off the internet and cut it out. And I'm not selling this, obviously, because I don't own that particular image. That's from Shane Swenson. Yeah, this took me 20 minutes to make. You use a heat gun between layers. So you gesso the board, and then you start painting the beeswax resin hot. You heat it in here, and then you start painting. And then between layers, you fuse the layers together with a heat gun. So you have to work quickly, and then you have to use the heat gun. But you can layer dried flowers, newspaper print, different tech. You can put all kinds of things in the layers to create wonderful images. And there are books. I have a book over here on encaustic beeswax painting. So we got it talks all about how to do it. Let's see if we can see one. Yeah, people do it for a lot of abstract art. Anyway, yeah, there's one that's kind of neat. So you see those layers, and using mixed media, this person attached a little thing to it. So we got this all ready. And then COVID hit, and then I kind of got tired and old, and I didn't really progress with this. So again, it's all here waiting for people. Oh, that's my first family with my first husband, my ex-husband, and my stepdaughters, and then my oldest son and my youngest son. Anyway, that didn't work out, but we are at least friends now, me and the ex. But anyway, we had a good 10, 12 years. But I wasn't Orthodox. I was Hindu, then Protestant, which he was happy that we got to get out of the Hinduism. He didn't really like going to see the guru with me, which he did because he was afraid I'd leave him otherwise. It's all in the book. Then Protestant got boring, and then we became Roman Catholic for like a minute, and then he had a midlife crisis discovering a female dead person at the ski resort where he worked way up the hill near the Sonora Pass, Dodge Ridge. And it triggered him to go off actually with a 25-year-old. He was 40, I was 50, she was 25. But she treated him a lot better than I did. Okay? I'm telling you. I totally don't blame him. He needed someone that lifted him up, that admired him, and was, Christian wife. And I was just a controlling, critical, bossy. I say the word biatch because that's the polite way to say it. I was horrible. And it was only after I found Orthodoxy, after being Roman Catholic again, he left like a couple years into us all being Roman Catholic, I found Orthodoxy. I had vowed to not date or do anything, never had another relationship until my current husband talked me into getting married. JK. Anyway, but yeah, so this room was all set up, ready to go. We have some icons over here that have imperfections, but I have another idea where people could put icons on a board and then work on the borders, gluing all kinds of beautiful jewels. Oh, that's just some broken pottery, but I have all my mother's and my grandmother's jewelry in here. And so, we could use beads and things to glue around the outside of icons to make a jeweled border. So here, I tried to glue on a little piece of the dendritic opal, which, it's not the most beautiful stone in the world, but, made a nice little touch to show where it's from. Oh, and these are going to become beeswax candle chandeliers. Okay, you guys, another idea. Too bad Vladimir's not here. Well, we need a welder. We have to buy some cups. If anyone has any ideas of where to get candle holder metal cups that could be welded on here after it's sandblasted. So I'm going to put 5 on the outer ring, 3 in the middle, and then you need 3 chains going up with a ring, and then it could be lowered and raised over your dining room table. And the candles won't drip, unless there's wind, So anyway, I have 150 of these at least. So I think they'd be a good fundraiser for around here, especially if we end up with not enough to get the RV park finished. Yeah. Oh, here's a little prayer corner that came out of somewhere in the monastery of St. Silouan. So I'm planning on putting this in that little cell. I know, so many ideas. That's when I kind of got overwhelmed, Marie, and I just said, when I kind of got sick and exhausted during COVID, we even planned to have like retreats, talks. I wanted to do a Jesus prayer group. Okay, this is a pigsty. Oh, look, it's 1:11. One of my favorite times of the day. I've always just liked the number 11. Anyway, it's a messy now, but this is the library. This is the living room library. Again, we weren't intending on living in here. It was for guests and visitors. But yeah, there's part of my 800 book Orthodox collection. And that other one over there, all Orthodox books. That's my icon corner where we pray here in the morning, and got this chair at a, thrift store. Chicken legs. Yep. There's another one of our icons, a huge one of St. Herman of Alaska. Here's one by Daniel Ogan, hand-painted one. And this is the one we had commissioned of Father Seraphim Rose with no halo yet, although I'm tempted. Daniel Ogan did this too. So we want to make photograph of this and then be able to make it to put on the unionofallicons.com. Well, Marie, I became Orthodox in 2014, but I'd already started buying books before that. And then when we got married, I got all my husband's books, him and his Matushka Anna. So I have several copies of different editions of the Philokalia. There she is. Jinxie, she did it. You guys, you got to see it live. Hi, baby. You're crazy. Oh, you have a haloed icon of Father Seraphim. Yes, I think I saw that. I actually was allowed to place that icon on his grave, on the wooden structure, for the entire Panahida. And then I didn't have it up there for the Divine Liturgy the next day, but for the Panahida, it got to be there. So I have a video of that on my channel, which you're on right now. So I have these photographs of saints in these little houses. I probably should get them up off the floor, but I haven't had time. And then one of my favorite guys, I won't say his name, he's a young ortho bro, one of my Orthodox, I call him Zoomer grandsons. He brought this painting and gave it to us. I know, I'm envious of people that are monks, so slow boy. Envy is a great problem sometimes. I have to really work hard. Actually, not as hard as I used to, because I am so satisfied and happy and overwhelmed with all the grace and gifts God's given us here. That's why we want to share it and have other people. So this person had this copy of this fantastic, oh, I know, St. Joseph. Yes, he kicks my butt, you know, because he says, force yourself. There's Elder Sophrony, or Saint Sophrony now. Oh, Chase Haggard. I don't know. I do know him. Anyway, so he gave us this painting, and I just got the frame. So it's not in the frame, but it's our Nicholas too, Holy Martyr. Oh, so that reminds me. Where did I put her? Oh, no. Oh, she's in here. Okay, so this is the library. This is where I work. It's the first icon I bought when I was in the Hindu cult back in the 80s. I came across the Jesus prayer when I was in the cult, but it didn't grab me, and I was too busy chanting to Shiva and worshiping stone idols. I know. So that's a very famous, oh, Chase does? Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, I think I know that. That's a very famous painting that it's almost exact copy of. Okay. So this is where I work. Oh, what came today? Oh, salt pills. I had to get more salt pills. Here's the actual book, you know, that I've given a few people, hint, hint, that I need comments from. But look at this. This is Mother Nectaria's most recent edits. So Mother Nectaria is editing it, and she owns, or she runs, Road to Emmaus Journal and St. Nicholas Press. So after I had crucified the book and taken it down off of Amazon, Father Ignatius introduced me to her, and I just told her I have a book, and she goes, oh, there'll be a lot of pictures in my book, but there'll be mostly pictures of my growing up, family, you know, my brother and I, things related to my story. So probably, well, no, because that book ends really with me after I got married to the saintly deacon. I realized I was a controlaholic, so I started writing this book to help myself mostly, but then other people too. So that's it. Confessions of a Controlaholic. And yeah, I sent this off to Mother Nectaria for a second round, and I said, oh, I still keep getting ideas. So I am going to work on a longer autobiography to like be published after I die, maybe. And there, look at, she liked the book, and she said, that book needs to get out there. So after I crucified it and took it off Amazon, she revived it, like without my will being involved. That's so crazy, right? Anyway, here's a list of the icons we need to ship to the Awakenings bookstore. I know it's so based. Like I said, it's grace. Okay, so since living in the candle factory and not living in a house, you know, in a residential area, I mean, we're very isolated, so it's very conducive to prayer and being in solitude. Like, I don't have neighbors. We have the workers and my husband and I. Yeah, Hi, Jinxie. Anyway, so there's just, it's so wonderful. That's why we hope people will come. Oh, here's another icon that Father Luke's widow, Nancy Dingman, gave us a box of these on cardstock. They are not by Father Luke. They are by a man named Yuri Sidorenko, who used to live up in the Santa Cruz Mountains. This is a life-size icon in the Church of Saints Peter and Paul in Ben Lomond, on the wall, on the left in the corner when you go in, towards the left side. So she gave us 300 of these, so we are mounting them. This was where I was experimenting with how to do the coating, and of course I hate this. I need to get something that's not as shiny, but it doesn't work to spray it, because no 3D pops out because it's on cardstock. That's the printer that makes the icons that turn into 3D. It's another one of, probably Father Luke's daughter, because it has that softer look. Yeah, that's one that I bought from somewhere. As a local artist, one of the founders of my Orthodox church, she paints, so I try to support her art. Oh, and this is another one of these. This is actually the best sample encaustic icon that we made. Actually, no, my friend from when I worked in the mental health industry at the crisis suicide line clinic, she made this, and she's not even Christian. Well, she was raised Catholic in Croatia, but she's more, eclectic. She did this as a sample to show me what encaustic beeswax could do, especially around the edges. I mean, look at that. It looks like it's 200 years old, right? I just love it. So again, I only made that one of Father Seraphim Rose, and then everything kind of got shut down during COVID. But if that had not happened, this would have never been built. So this whole space was piled high with garbage. It's now a 2,500 square foot center. It's got 2 full bathrooms. I do have a claw-footed tub in here. I pray a lot in the bathtub, you guys. God's always met me in water in the tub. I don't know. It's, you can't really bring your phone in, although I try. Here is the 700 square foot ballroom, which is a pigsty right now. There's 2 Murphy beds over there, 1 queen and 1 queen. That one's my husband's, one's mine, and we have our exercise equipment because again, we had to live in here. So this is the size. We do have a big screen over there. It could be used by people if they needed a media presentation. There's special lights down there that could be above a speaker, and we have a speaker platform so they could be raised up a little. This room would probably hold at least 60 people sitting in chairs comfortably. There's a child's corner right now for when my grandson comes, but this is supposed to be used for outreach, for events, for dinners. I'd love to teach etiquette to young ladies with all my grandmother's crystal and antiques that are upstairs right above us. All my father's and my mother's stuff from their whole lives are upstairs, and all my husband's Matushka Anna's stuff from their whole life. It's all upstairs on a very to code built ceiling with sprinklers. Now these chandeliers were an inspiration of St. Elizabeth, the new martyr. And so I have a relic of hers that is a piece of her actual skin that's mounted in one of Father Luke's icons of St. Elizabeth. And it's somewhere over there, and I don't want to go over there because it's too messy. But anyway, she really inspired me to make this place like as beautiful as I could. So I got the biggest crown molding I could get, and it's foam, so it wasn't even that heavy. And these chandeliers, I know, they're probably from China, but they were like $100 on Amazon. So I got 4 of them because even as a little girl, I always wanted little crystal chandeliers. So this is the messy place that if it were transformed and cleaned, it could be used to have events for spreading orthodoxy. And again, I told you, we have a family coming to visit us. I'm hoping they come, Lord willing, from San Diego, and they have their own channel, and they're pretty, well known. I'm not gonna say who it is, but we made friends because of, our respective YouTube channels, and you see this person commenting on lots of, David Patrick Harry's Church of the Eternal Logos, where I'm a moderator. Even on Jay Dyer, sometimes I kind of have stopped listening to a lot of the debates just because it brings me out of prayer, but it's fun, and I have to guard against wanting to have fun. I posted a good article on Facebook today about the imagination and how we have to really purge it from imagery that is not healthy. This poster back here is actually from Amazon, under $100. And I think it's an old falling down church from Serbia or Georgia or Romania. The script on the columns, you can read. Anyway, and then behind these curtains, there's some mystery. Yeah, the debates. I mean, I love Jay and I love Jamie and I love listening. It's just so much fun, and the energy is kind of wild, but I am really trying to focus more on Hezekiah. Like, I have to, because my own salvation is nowhere near what it needs to be, especially now that I have to pray for my 4-year-old grandson, because he's going through a lot of struggles and suffering right now. So please pray for the family of my son and his wife and 2 children now, that the demons are kept away. So here is I don't want to say who it is, so my fingers here. This is something that a priest texted me, one of my favorite priests, and he said this about this place a couple of years ago now. It might have been 2022. It's when Father Peter visited too and did a live stream from here. You can find it. It was September 23rd, 2022. Father Peter did a live stream right from this chair, right where I'm standing. It was so cool. So I really look at this every day because I need profound prayer, and I am beginning to suffer. I really have had so much fun, even in Orthodoxy, so much joy, so much blessing, so much grace. But I know I'm going into a phase now of more intense suffering. Now, personal victory over suffering, to me, that means not that suffering stops, but that you learn how to handle suffering in your nous, in your heart, and developing that continuing attitude of ongoing continual repentance. And if tears come, you love that. When that happens, it's such a blessing. But, then like St. Silouan, I'm rereading him now. He was able to pray for the whole world. And I've had little tiny glimpses of that. So stillness is what might draw people. They are attracted to peace and humility. Well, I don't have a lot of that. So I have a lot of excitement and joy and energy, but I'm working on this other stuff now. Oh, bye. However you say your name there. So I guess that is a good place to stop this wonderful stream with 4 people still here. I'm so grateful that you guys hang in here with me. St. John there. Just one last thing. This is one of the photograph icons of St. Silouan where I messed around with the encaustic. Again, this took me like 5 minutes. I had to cover him with blue tape, and then I did the encaustic, and then I tried to color it with this powder. It's a lot cheaper than gold leaf. It was a copper colored powder, but I wasn't even trying to get it smooth. But this is where I imagine maybe gluing on some jewels around the edge, but I don't think gluing on top of beeswax and resin is going to work too well. So we may just use plain boards, gesso them, maybe paint them a certain color, and then glue the jewels around. But I would love to be able to make more of these because I just love photographs of saints. They speak to me, sometimes more even than real icons do. There's Father Luke St. Patrick. This one was from St. Anthony's that my husband bought me when I became Orthodox. He and his wife, his Matushka, bought me before she passed. Oh, Russian lessons, cool. Oh, here's one of our 3 or 4 hand-painted icons. We bought it at the St. Sava's Church in Jackson, 3 years ago. It's from Serbia, actually, but it's of St. Sebastian, who is another one. He's only an hour away. His myrrh-bearing skull is only an hour from my house. I try to go there to venerate him all the time. St. John, who I had the dreams of. You guys, pray to him. He will help you. He is only 3 hours away. And then, of course, we have Blessed Saint Seraphim Rose. 5 hours away. It's a lot harder to get up there, but let me close with yeah, let's do a tiny little prayer in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Thank you, Jesus, for letting me be alive long enough to acquire a little taste of remembrance of death, and help me and help everybody who's watching to gain more hezekiah, more stillness, sitting quietly. Sometimes I am able to do it for at least an hour and have the Jesus prayer in mind and just talk to God and share my heart. And sometimes tears might come when I'm praying for someone. So just make sure you are spending that time. Yes. Oh, praying to St. John after every liturgy, since you need a bigger church. Excellent. Yeah. Our church, we have no priest, but we might get one in June. I think his family is local to California, so he might stay. Yeah, right now we have no priest, but we do reader services every Saturday night and every Sunday. If we don't have a visiting priest, what they call circuit riders or something. Yep. Yeah, and we have a wedding coming up that Father Peter Runyon, who got moved up to Ashland, Oregon, to St. Gabriel's, he's going to come down and celebrate the wedding. And we miss him and his Matushka Sophia so much. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to go now and get to work. I have to get more icons out of inventory for the order for Awakenings Bookstore. Then I really do have to start printing icons. And I just found out today, right before I came on, I got so inspired because I've been really struggling. I mean, waking up in the middle of the night with demonic attack and just knowing I have to go pray. I don't even usually get out of bed to do it, but I just start going to the Jesus prayer in the middle of the night. Otherwise, I think I'd be going crazy with things that are going on in my family's life with the little grandson. So pray for my grandson. Protection from demons. Most Holy Theotokos, protect everybody here. And Jesus, we know you love everybody in the whole world, so give us all pain of heart so that we can pray for the whole world. Yes. And Maranatha, come, Lord Jesus. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Talk to you guys later. Bye.